Hi, my name is J.L. Laurie, and today I'm reading my piece in the Vancouver Pride magazine, Reimagining Pride 2020. And my piece today is called Pride, Parades, and Protests by J.L. Laurie. The sun is blazing down, and the layers of my huge rainbow bustle are heavy on my hips. But the music is blasting and the crowd is screaming. It's Vancouver Pride, and I'm in the parade on a pirate ship. 600,000 people cheer us on, shrieking and waving as our entry, whatever floats your boat. A massive, colorful pirate ship crewed by 30 pirates armed with water guns sails by in a rainbow sea of love. The first time I joined the parade was from the sidelines years ago, a spur-of-the-moment decision to leap from the crowd and climb aboard my friend's float as it rolled by. Standing on that float, I was gobsmacked. The colossal horde of screaming people, the explosion of infinite camera flashbulbs in my face, the thousands and thousands of eyes watching our every move, the utter glory and spectacle of it all. It's not like viewing it from the street in the slightest, hollering for your favorite float or applauding the drag queen in her elaborate headdress and glittered hoop skirt. It's a full-on spotlight, putting yourself out there for all to see, bright and beautiful. On the float, you're trying to give it all away too, dancing your heart out for the crowd, spreading the message of love and inclusivity. A cheerleader bringing the party to the people. Celebrate good times, come on! For baby, I was born this way. You'll sweat and dance and smile. You'll find yourself online in 1,000 photos later. And you'll return year after year because you love it. The elation of the crowd, the personal expression, the experience of really being seen for the first time in your life. The sheer pride in who you are and how far you've come as a queer person in this world. How far we've come. When you're out there in the public, there is no place to hide. That exposure is like a rainbow beacon shining into the darkness, bringing everything to light. There's a profound political power in being seen, whether it be in parades or protests. Indeed, it's one of the only ways systemic changes are ever really made. The Pride movement was built on taking it to the streets. Today, we see the enraged parades of the people, worldwide political protests rising up against systemic racism, police brutality, social inequality, economic poverty. Societal unrest and shattered glass, fire in the streets, and exploding fury has been our collective history, from the suffragette protests to the labor riots, from the start of the civil rights movement to Stonewall. When people are unheard, they take to the street to march and burn things in desperate need. When they're happy, they pour into the streets to parade and dance in merriment. Pride is both a party and a political protest. Always has been, always will. In the time before the Great Pause, we celebrated Pride around the world. Millions and millions of LGBTQIA+ people and their allies waving our rainbow flags. In some places, Pride has taken on a Mardi Gras festival feeling, while in others it is less party and more politics. Still in others, it's a complete act of defiance, punishable by law and even death. Here in Vancouver, we are blessed that our political stage exists in a setting of celebration, a chance to party and express ourselves, educate the next generation, and stand in solidarity with our queer siblings worldwide. It's a privilege to celebrate our gayness when so many cannot express who they are at all. Whatever Floats Your Boat is a corporate, sponsorship-free lifestyle float comprised of like-minded friends, embodying the entire spectrums of gender and sexual orientation, single people and polyamorous families, trans kids and their parents, and many, many supportive allies. For 8 years, we've been spreading our messages of radical self-expression, unconditional love, and inclusion. Participating in the parade is one of the highlights of my summer. And as my polyamorous partner's 9-year-old child Molly said, dancing on the float was the best thing she did all year. With COVID-19, what does Pride look like? Despite the public health risks, people are still gathering unofficially, coming together in these new parades of uprisings and activism. Millions are risking their lives worldwide, demanding accountability and systemic changes. Our collective trauma as a nation is spilling out into the streets. If you are fighting to breathe, how can you even begin to rejoice? The focus of the moment needs to be on the Black Lives Matter movement and the fight to recognize and reduce systemic racism in all its many forms. to stand with the people putting themselves in the political spotlight today as the needs of humanity emerges in full display on our streets, to express our solidarity for these important movements taking place, to join the fight for the essential changes that must be made, a sustained support, not just over Pride Month, but an enduring solidarity, power for the people, by the people. This year, the captains of Whatever Floats Your Boat have made a video in solidarity with Black Lives Matter as part of the virtual parade being put on by Vancouver Pride. It features members of the float crew working to hoist the sails in support of the rights of all people. We know there will always be time for dancing, but now we stand in solidarity with the hope that next year we'll all be back sailing our boat in a rainbow sea of love.